everybody, welcome into my studio. Thank you for being here. So I just got back from Fluid Art Boutique in Washington, DC. Due to my work schedule, I was only able to attend about half of the retreat. I'm going to call it a retreat because for me, that's what it was. It was a chance to paint with other people who are as passionate about this as me, and also even more so to learn from people who have mastered certain techniques and such. So due to my work schedule, I got there for the afternoon class on Wednesday. I was able to attend the dinner as well, which was super fun. And then on Thursday, I had a morning class and an afternoon class, and that was it. So I had missed about a day and a half, but I had attended about a day and a half. And boy, did I learn a ton in that day and a half. So what I want to do on this video is show you what I made there, and also give you some of my top little lessons that I learned while I was making these pieces. So I'll tell you about my classes. I had 3 classes. I had Deconstructed Bloom with Karen Dershin, and then I had Wanderlust Pour with Mina, and then I had Seascapes with our very own Nate Bright, who I am in the Nate's Art Lab. You will probably have seen the videos for Nate's Art Lab on my channel if you are a subscriber and watcher of my content. About every month we do a challenge. I joined Nate's Art Lab maybe a little over a year ago, about a year ago. And I joined because I wanted to be challenged. I mean, every month we get challenges. I wanted to do techniques I might not have done on my own. So there's a whole playlist of the things I've done since I joined the Art Lab in my playlist. And so I encourage you to check out my YouTube videos, all of them going back for a year. I also discovered recently that I've been on YouTube for about a year. I think it was June of 23 when I posted my first YouTube video. And there's a lot of my learning journey on my YouTube channel from then on until now. So if you want to go back and see how I've progressed, learning these techniques and sort of being brave to try it right here in front of you guys, and sometimes succeeding quite well, sometimes failing quite spectacularly, and sometimes just being like, oh, well, it was okay, it was good, but I learned something. So it was definitely a learning journey. And if you'd like to check it out, please do subscribe, check out my videos, and leave me lots of comments saying what you liked and what you didn't like, and questions you might have, and all of that. And I try to respond to as many comments as possible. Okay, so in terms of the Fluid Art Boutique, I am going to show you my pieces, and I'm going to talk about the things I learned in each of the classes. I'm going to try to keep it very bullet point, not keep you on here too long, because we're not going to paint in this video. I appreciate you being here just to see what I have to share and listen to what I learned. Okay, so the first class I went to, as I mentioned, was the Deconstructed Bloom with Karen Dershin. So here's the piece. So this is the piece that I created in that class. And so what do you think of it? I have decided that this piece is perfect. I love it. I guess I should say it's not about perfection, right? I love this piece, and I am going to hang it in my home. I'm going to keep it, and I'm going to hang it in my home. And thankfully, it got back in the car in the travels home without any mishaps at all. It's dried well, and nothing about it changed from the ride home. So that was good. One thing about it is, and I'm going to switch to a different angle here. So the piece has some interesting sides. Oh, there we go. So the sides are nice. This is the side that has the most amount of color on it. This side is all negative space, and then there's a little bit of nice webbing and lacing on that side. So what I wondered is, do you think it should just go on the wall as it is, or do you think it should just go in a frame? So let me know what you think about that. A frame could sort of tie it all in, perhaps a gold frame. There's a good amount of gold in the piece. Maybe a white frame if I just wanted the frame to serve as not another element of the color or the look. I don't think I would go with a black frame, only because the dark colors in this piece are more of a Payne's gray or more on the blue side. So I don't think I'd go with a black frame, but you let me know what you think in the comments. Let me know. Frame it, don't frame it, and if yes to frame it, what color? Okay, so now let's go to the next. I got my little bullet points here about what I learned doing this piece. Okay. The biggest thing I learned doing this piece is how to stop yourself. And there were 2 instances where I learned how to stop myself on this particular piece. The first one is when you're blowing the cell activator over the colors so that you can get your effects with the bloom. Now, Karen did help us learn how to aim the blow dryer and how to move the blow dryer, but the biggest thing was when you are aiming your blow dryer and you see that the cell activator is the thing that is moving forward, you can continue going, because that's what you want. You want to push the cell activator over your colors to create the effects that you get from the cell activator. If you're aiming your blow dryer and you're not aimed in the right spot yet, you will start to see other elements of your bloom puddle moving. Perhaps it's the paint at the outer edge behind, and when I say behind, I mean between your hair dryer and the cell activator. Maybe it's pointing at that paint, and what's going to happen is if you go in and you continue to push, it's going to push the paint on the back end of your puddle over your cell activator. You want to push your cell activator almost from the very center of the cell activator over the colors and then go in all the different directions. So what did I learn about that? The thing that I learned about that is if you aim it and you see the wrong thing is moving, don't just keep going. Pull back, abort, stop, reset, re-aim yourself so that you are pushing that cell activator over the paints that you have chosen, the colors you've chosen to layer, and so that it looks the way you're supposed to look. The other part where I decided that I needed to stop, or I shouldn't say that, I didn't decide it. I was coached by all the people in the room, the other students, Karen herself, Taneva Baker, who was there helping her. I needed to know when to stop. And so this was a good example. So these lines here at the top that were rolling this way, so the bloom pieces were moving across the canvas. And in the back of my mind, I was liking it like that, like it is. But at the same time, my brain was saying to me, oh, keep spinning, because these lines haven't made it all the way across the canvas. And so I said out loud to Karen and Taneva and the rest of the class, like, oh, should I spin it a little more so those lines reach the other side of the canvas? And they are all like, no, it's this way it should stay. This is perfect this way. And now, in retrospect, I am so glad I listened to them. So that's the other spot. Know when to stop twice. Know when to stop when you don't have your aim right and readjust yourself, and know when to stop with your piece. And one of the biggest ways that I find that you can know when to stop, besides having a classroom full of people who tell you, no, don't do anymore, is give yourself some time. Stop and look. at the piece. Really, if you have to get up on a stool or look at it from a different angle, or look at your recording if you're doing YouTube, because I see things when I'm editing that I never see when I'm painting. So stop yourself, look at it, and then make your decision. When you're in the moment, if you just keep going and don't stop, you might look back after you've are editing it and say, oh, I should have left it right there at that point. And I think we all struggle with that. So I was super fortunate to have a classroom full of people that said, no, stop there, stop there. So those were the two really big takeaways from that class. We learned a whole bunch of other stuff from Karen, which you could probably find on her YouTube channel and other things. And that is to say, if you cannot go to a live class, and I encourage everyone at the sound of my voice, if you can get yourself into a live class, whether it's local or whether it's being held in a spot where you're going to be because you're on a business trip or a vacation or anything, find a way to get yourself into a class and use the ability to learn live and in person, because you won't regret it. So those are my big takeaways. But we did learn a little bit about layering the blooms, color decisions, and such like that. Okay, and we learned a little bit about spinning. You have to put a little effort into your spin. You have to very swiftly and steadily spin that canvas so that the paint moves outward evenly. So you don't want to send it flying off your spinner, but you want it to start moving. Okay, so the next class I had was the Wanderlust Pour with Mina. And this was a fantastic class, and we had so much fun, and I learned so much from her. I'm just going to caveat right now and say I'm not going to be showing you the piece. It didn't quite make it home. It came home. It just didn't quite make it home. Two things happened which were unfortunate. When I packed it up, I think, and when I put it in the car, I think one of the lid pieces of the box just got pushed down too far, and it pushed into the paint, created a line across the paint, and actually even a little bit of cardboard got stuck into the piece. But the second thing that happened was somehow or another, either I carried it really on a bad angle, which I don't feel like I did, but I probably did, or my trunk is just so very unlevel. I don't know how that could be, but the painting slid from one corner to the other, and it's really not anything I can keep now. So I'm going to let it dry, let it cure, but just really dry out. Then I'm going to have to sand some spots where the paint moved down and sort of created a higher level puddle. And then I'm going to do it again because I learned so much from Mina that I can do it again. So what did I learn from Mina? Well, I learned from Mina how to feel the consistency of your paint. I also learned from Mina how to make sure your mixture is smooth and creamy and flows, and to have it end up being very gloppy. The main thing for that I think I took away is when you're adding Floetrol to your gel gloss, you need to do it slowly so it integrates fully into the Floetrol integrates fully into the gel gloss. And even though her paints are thicker than maybe you're used to using, especially if you're a Dutch pour fan like me, that doesn't mean they're slow. Her paints still flow. They move on the canvas. They use weight to help them do that, but they do still move. Okay. So a couple of things a couple of just points I'll hit as well is, if you're going to wreck your piece, and especially with the Wanderlust, because you're meeting two cups together, it's always good to create a marry between those two cups, and the wrecking can do that. She recommends a golf ball over a marble, which I now see why that is really very helpful. The golf ball has the divots, which helps to sort of move and churn the paint. It's a little bigger than a marble. And so I like how that does it. When you use a marble, and I've done this before, the lines you create are smaller, and they might just get lost in the paint even when you stretch. They might not stretch out, they might just get kind of lost. So the golf ball, and then the other thing, that she taught really helped me figure out, and actually I had to almost like mechanically make myself do it, was how to tip your cup really close to the canvas. But I was close to the canvas, but my cup wasn't really tipped. It was just sort of down there. And so it was like not really flowing out. And the key to that is you got to lift the back of the cup so that it's at an angle. But my brain was having trouble making my hand do that. So then I had to come in with my other hand and push the back of the cup up so that it would start doing it. Other thing that I learned was she mixes paints without a lot of measuring, and I think you know that if you watch her. And now I really understand why. She had us mix the paints in her medium, so the medium was ready to go as she liked it, and then we mixed the paints into it, and then we felt what it was like. So we held the cup and we closed our eyes and we stirred, and we went down the line with all of the colors that we had chose. And so doing that allowed us to feel the consistency of the paint. And when we talk about not measuring, the point I wanted to make was you're not always going to put the same amount in the sense of ounces or weight or even the size of the amount of paint you put in to the cup, depending on the different brands. So you want to put the right amount of paint in the cup for the brand you chose based on how pigmented it is, how thick or slightly less thick it is. Maybe it's lighter and fluffier and creamier, or heavier and denser. Then you're going to put different amounts of paint in your cup to get to that same consistency. And if you have a very, very highly pigmented paint, you may not need hardly any amount of paint as compared to another paint that is less pigmented. So that's where the additional editing of your colors come after you've added your paint. You can have the same pouring medium, and then you put some paint in, 2 different cups, same pouring medium, different amounts of paints because of the way they are. Then you stir that up, you add your Floetrol, and now they're different consistencies. That's where you're gonna loosen them, or make them thicker or make them thinner at that point. Okay, so on to the third piece. The seascape. So my last class was seascapes with Nate Bright, and that was so much fun. Okay, so getting to work with Nate after having been in the lab for so many months, it was fantastic. Nate is super fun. He is so excited to meet his students. There was several of us there that are part of the lab, and he just really just wanted us all around him as much as he could get. And so that was super awesome. Like, I really loved that. So let me show you the piece I made there. So this was the seascape I made in Nate's class, and I like it. My husband loves it. He has claimed it for his own. He has made some requests, and I'm going to put this under the other camera just to talk about a little bit. He has made a request that I put a small sailboat somewhere along the horizon area. So I am going to do that. It's going to be very small. So the beauty of that is my painting, my realistic painting skills don't have to be very detailed and fantastic, because if I put the sailboat down here, like in the middle of the ocean span, it would need to be a little bigger. But when it's up here on the horizon, it really does not have to be very big at all. What I did think was kind of fun was to have it be somewhat textured. So I don't think I'm going to be able to find a stencil this small, but I'm going to create texture probably with the paint on, not fluid. Just keep it out of the jar. And then another texture element I was thinking about, and sort of a little fun thing, was I might add some glass gel beads underneath to show like maybe the wake of the sailboat in the water, and then some glass gel beads in the mixture I use for the sail, just to have it sort of glisten a little bit. So let me know what you think about that. Let me know if you think it should be textured, it shouldn't be textured. You think the glass beads are just gonna ruin it, or you think the glass beads are a good idea. So with that, let's talk about what I learned in Nate's class. One of the biggest things I learned in Nate's class is if you have a color of paint that you love, but for whatever reason you struggle to integrate it with some of the other colors that you chose for a painting or that you also love, it's totally off. And I had such a color. Hold on. I had such a color. So the horizon area, the sky area rather, I chose this blue-gray and white and gold. My sky area was chosen to be. And then the water area was like this primary blue. I think it happened to be Liquitex as well. And a turquoise similar to this. It wasn't this, but it was a Deco Art Extreme Sheen Metallic. And then I had this, which I just love this color. He had this there, and I have this at home. And this tube is practically full because every time I try to use it, I struggle with it not really integrating into what I might have chose other colors similar to these. So I said to Nate, I really like this color. I have this color at home. I struggle to use it because somehow or another, when I combine it with other things, it just doesn't, it pops out in a bad way. It doesn't look quite right. And so what Nate suggested I do was, so I had this color just as it is as part of my sky. The flip cup was white and this and gold. And I wanted to integrate this also into the water area. And Nate's suggestion was mix it with one of the other colors. So if you have two colors that go really well together or next to each other that you can, neither one is competing against the other, then this one that you think might not work well, mix it with something and have basically create a new color, but it's gonna mirror into your other areas because this color is in your other areas. So what I did was I created this color and the Deco Art in this sort of metallic-y blue, and I combined them together and I created a third color. And so this was in my sky, and this combined with the metallic was in my ocean. So, and then white and gold were also in the ocean too. The other thing that I learned was a very, very specific to doing a seascape, which was, and we'll go to the other camera angle again, which was only tilt in the directions that you want your lines to go. Don't do a lot of tilting this way, or even to corners. And in fact, you're doing almost no tilting that way. You are tilting only towards the directions of where you want your lines to go. So that was a big thing. Don't tilt it up or down, tilt it left or right, whatever your left or right is. So that was huge. And then basically he said what he always says, which is to be fearless. I was almost done with this, and there was a portion of it that when it was done with the tilting, I didn't love. And I said, I'm struggling with this part here. It was just like one color kind of just popped up, and it didn't have all of this, variation like everywhere else. And I said, should I do something over there? And he's like, yeah, if you don't like it, do something over there. He gave me a couple suggestions of what to do. And I'm like, and of course he could tell I was like afraid to ruin it. And he's like, you gotta be fearless, just go do it. And I did, and it came out much better there than it was before. What was there before was just like, it just looked like it wasn't natural. And then this just, when I went in there with it, it just looked a little more natural. And again, I think I could do even better after learning from him, but my husband loves this, so it is his. He wants it, he can have it. And I'm excited to give it to him, so I think that'll be fun. So that is what I learned at the Fluid Art Boutique, and I wish I could have done 6 classes instead of 3, but I am so grateful that I chose to do the 3. So I hope that you will join me on my YouTube channel going forward. We're going to have another Nate's Art Lab Challenge next week on Sunday the 25th of August, and it is going to be cells and lacing is the challenge, and I am super excited for that because that's all me. I love to swipe, I love to Dutch pour, and I know there's a million other ways to make cells, but those are my 2 favorite things, and they make cells. So I cannot wait. I am not sure which of the 2 I'm going to do for you, or if I will have time for both. But I hope you will join us there, and I hope you will come back and paint with me when I try all 3 of these techniques again on YouTube for you, and we learn again together.